welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, especially advanced battlefield command and tactics. And I did not have an intro to this episode, so I've gone ahead and done this with after narration. And now I will allow the live narration to pick back up. Right now there's literally pop-up fires coming all over the place here. It's interesting, at the bottom you can actually see the Aserai force sieging. I've never seen that before. You can sort of spy on their force, and obviously they have elite troops. Now I'm going to hit towns and little villages all along the way, kind of from here on out, because we have introduced this My Little Warband mod. These where are these at here? Some characters like this, the insane ex-wife. We've got all these different characters that we made with the My Little Warband mod that are decent units, but they have weaknesses, right? It's something I talked about last episode. As a commander, this is going to be very interesting for me, but also very challenging because these units are unlike anything in the normal vanilla game. Our tier 3 woman, for example, has virtually no armor, the insane ex-wife, but she has a nasty two-handed weapon and some good two-handed weapon skill. So how do you get a unit like that into battle without them getting shredded by archers and torn apart by cavalry? That will be the challenge that I undergo on the battlefield in the next 3, 4, 5, 10 episodes. We still have quite a few minor clans. Of course, we're recruiting prisoners nonstop. We have these looter bands that are running around, so we're taking advantage of everything we can in this episode or in this campaign. But what I really need is another army. There's been a lot of quiet in the west. That's not going to last very long. The Northern Empire is over there. They just assaulted a couple episodes ago. We need to get an army basically over here, and I don't know how to do that without having a new player clan. Iron Balik is over here. Yeah, so speak of the devil. It looks like they shoved a militia army, or not a minor clan army, a couple of minor clan armies into that castle. But I don't have any ability to defend both fronts, right? That's not practical. I've got to get some kind of army over there. So I think it does make sense that we will have a minor clan army being joined with a player clan. Now, they will have some traditional troops. There's no way for me to avoid that. But we will stuff them full at the beginning with these My Little Warband units so that it's a little bit more accurate from a role-playing level, right? We're not recruiting normal troops. And that is sort of an intentional endeavor. Now, the Jarl's Scythe, right? I want to show you these custom weapons compared to the Legionary Manavlion. They're all superior, right? Certain aspects of a Manavlion in this situation are better, but these custom weapons that you can make are generally superior to anything you can actually get in a drop in the game. It's interesting. His bow skill must have leveled. I actually spent 2 minutes just farting around with practice battles, shooting his bow in the arena, and evidently that I didn't know that worked like that. That leveled up his bow skill. I did not think you could get skill points from. I don't know where else that could have come from, because I definitely haven't wielded a bow in battle. All right, damn, you know, we've already fought on this battlefield a couple, 3 times, so I might be just narrating for no fucking reason here. Unless I can do something different here. What do we got? Look at this over here. You know what we can do? This is really interesting. I think it goes up to that higher landing there. Let's use this shit, right? Not only should that be tactically advantageous, our guys can shoot down and throw javelins on the enemy, but there's a bottleneck there, right? If I can get our troops heading over there, the good news is that this Aserai force outnumbers us, and Aserai, especially with lots of heavy cav, will pursue you, right? They will aggressively chase you down, and if we can get them to do that here, that will lead to their demise. So 1, 2, 3. I basically have 4 infantry divisions. The 1st, 3rd, 6th, and the 2nd is going to be infantry division, because I think I'll use these guys as horses again. We will stretch out their horses in a big long line and then have the enemy basically run into those, right? All their Aserai Vanguard Faris will have to deal with marching through 100 plus disorganized horses kind of clogging the road there. Now, I'm zooming in here because I want to continue to refine this division. You see the women with their battle axes and their prom dress, their nicest looking servant and prom dress. I want to make sure that the 3rd Division has more and more shock troops going forward, right? So I'm going to be tinkering with these divisions a little bit. Our army is becoming infantry heavy, and that is intentional as well. I wanted to do like a javelin slash infantry only campaign, but I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do it. Most kingdoms aren't really well designed for that unless you can get like the lake rats with the sturgeons. And in some little way, this is qualifying, right? We've got the Iron Maidens in here, these women with the gold and bronze. These gals have extremely weak offense, but they're really good defensive units. So we're going to be able to use them in squares, use them in shield walls, push forward, and on some level they can be our shield and shock, right? So women with bronze armor leading the way for women leading with their dress, right? It's going to be a very interesting dynamic. And then of course the male line of our rebels has some really tactically interesting units as well. Most of them are two-handed or polearm units. We just don't have a lot of shields. I wanted to do that intentionally so that that part of the game was challenging. Now I got shields here, the 4th crossbow shields, and I'll be having to use those guys down the road as shield walls. We started with maybe 100 total shield crossbow, and now we're down to 40 or something like that. Unfortunately, that's a non-sustainable resource. I'm not going to be able to just get endless bower champions because it's been quite a while since we took many as prisoner. I think we have a half dozen that we're still recruiting as prisoners, but that's obviously not going to sustain our losses. All right, so the 7th and 8th, I think I'll just have follow me and we'll try to clog the other side. I don't know if the enemy's going to try to circle us here or just chase us to this left side and then approach from the back door here. So we'll see. This is a highly unique attempt at battle here. And of course, if the enemy doesn't follow us, this isn't going to work. All right, so those horses are clogged in beautifully there. It's a little bit risky anytime you dismount units before a battle starts, but I really do find that the mounted pillager, these tier 2 and tier 3 cavalry with the spear and shield, are a liability on horse. I guess just because the enemy comes up to them and then their cavalry is swinging their weapons, one-on-one against these guys. They have pathetic weapon skill, 50 weapon skill or whatever, and so they don't match up against an Imperial Elite Cataphract or an Aserai Vanguard Faris. They're much better off on the ground in a square, and then we can use their horses on some level, be resourceful, and plug up the roads here. Now, the 7th and 8th will hold this little back door here, but it really does look like the enemy is charging our original location, which is optimal for us. We can essentially create a total choke point death ambush here. 1, 2, 3 infantry divisions, the 1st, 3rd, and the 6th. The 3rd is going to be a charging unit. The other 2 are more static, throw javelins at range. These horses, hopefully, are slowing down the enemy here. We've got some horse parkour as their units pursue. I can get the 5th Corps up here on this plateau, and they'll shoot anything that comes over the ridges here, as well as shooting down. So lots of advantages to this tactical spot. I'm very glad I noticed this. All right, let's go ahead and square this 2nd Corps, looking at act as bait, like I said, and we will drag them. I see some of their units are coming up the back door here, which is good because, or not good necessarily, but it's fine. We are prepared for that. We can pull the 7th Archers off. That'll clog up the road badly for these cav. And the 8th Corps combined with an infantry division should be able to do a decent job of slowing the enemy down there. Yeah, the 6th Corps is beautifully positioned here, basically chucking javelins down as soon as the enemy comes around that turn. Of course, the enemy's in a giant Zerg here, chasing after our squares. That's good. We like this, right? Their infantry's coming behind the cav. Now, there are going to be some javelin deaths here, right? The enemy's coming in here flinging javelins, but we're also going to rack up the javelin kills too, right? Look at all the javelins getting flung in here. If you look at our army and you say, okay, what are the strengths and weaknesses? Well, there's one of them, right? 80,000 javelins. Now, they're not all high level. Of course, a lot of our javelins are tier 2. We have lots of infantry, and I guess you could say we have lots and lots of projectile units. It's an Aserai Peasants Revolt, right? And appropriately, our Aserai units have a lot of projectiles. This 7th Corps, they have spears and no shield, but they have a bow, right? So it's also another highly interesting, unique unit for tactics. I hear them. Okay, they're still making their way in, and what a fucking death trap we have set up here, right? These units are all firing down. You see the archers. I don't need my email, you motherfuckers. You see the archers just scorching them as soon as they get in here. The squares distracting and pulling some attention. I can't tell if these are there. So our enemy actually has some of our bandits, and that's happening because they're taking prisoners. Hopefully they don't suddenly have a bunch of furious housewives attacking us. And what a fucking death trap this enemy's in. They're getting fucking strafed with javelins, shot with arrows. Now our third corps women charge in, right, bellowing the whole way. You owe me alimony, you motherfucker. And these guys just pour in. The square's doing a beautiful job gathering attention, and now the other units can charge. First, third, and sixth can all get aggressive here. And of course, Hugh the Hammer earns his reputation. See you in hell. Man, it's flushing green. This was going to be a hard battle without this tactic, and it's almost exploitish. Like, we have totally manipulated the enemy here into a fucking death match. Just fucking crushed. This might be it. Like, they're just getting wiped so fast. The screen is just fizzing green. This just might be the only thing the enemy presents us with in this battle. Guy's getting blasted all over the place by his hammer. The 8th Division can be added to the carnage here. And the other thing that's happening here is the AI on some levels trying to regroup its units right into the teeth of our units. The AI does not handle very well being cut off from his reinforcements. Now, to be fair, neither would a player. Right? There's not a lot of options. You either try to go around while you're getting strafed by javelins and arrows, or you try to fight your way through. Neither of those situations are going to work. We could fire up our army here in the RTS mod and give them a bellowing yell, but I think this battle is over. We've got archers up here placed on the sandy, on these sandy ridges, and the Banu Tusken, right? The Star Wars Tusken people. This is exactly what I had in mind, right? A bunch of guys wearing that Tusken garb from Star Wars, fighting battles in the sand, using ambush and guerrilla tactics. And indeed, the enemy is streaming off the battlefield here as our units shred them. Love it. I mean, that was a strong couple Aserai forces, and they got obliterated so bad. Man. And we're going to need to have this kind of success, right? The bottom line in this campaign is this is going to be an underdog situation indefinitely, right? We are going to be fighting armies that are stronger than us with tier 5 and tier 6 units, and we don't have any of those, right? We have no tier 5. Actually, that's not true. We have like 3 tier 5 units, like the Desert Bandit Boss and stuff like that. But all the rest of the units are tier 4, tier 3, and then we have these tier 2 and 1 looters and mounted pillagers. They did have quite a few prisoners, so they must have somehow taken some of our units captive. I'm trying to remember when that would have been. It might have been some of the garrisons, actually, that we have put in various different locations. That's going to be a thing, right? You cannot prevent the enemy from recruiting prisoners and or rescuing prisoners. So there's going to be some of these armies, some of these units in the enemy army, and we'll just roll with that. I guess there's always a chance that some of these guys are like double agents, right? So let's see here. As usual, we'll clean up the garrisons here. I'll do a little bit of editing. We got a legendary piercing arrow in that battle. That's a beautiful thing. Chase this fucking guy off. I got to reorganize our units a little bit here, so we'll be right back. Man, roaming around, and we'll just continue hitting these villages on the way to stop in this next assault. Looks like 1,000 Mantios of the Northern Empire. I think that might be their emperor. So the enemy's getting desperate here, right? They are invading our territory with emperor forces. Maybe they didn't get the memo that we don't take kindly to kings invading our territory here. Fortunately, in the French Revolution, the kings didn't actually invade, because otherwise there would have been the beheading of so-and-so French king after the Battle of Valmy, right? There would have been... Maybe that's why they sent the Duke of Brunswick, who incidentally was at the Battle of Valmy, and they fled. So we outnumber them. This is, I think, their king. Let's take a look. Mantios. Yeah, Emperor of the Empire and head of the Argyros. You just died, right? He just died, as my saying goes. Oh, this is beautiful. There's looters running towards us like they're volunteering. What I need is so the deserters situation here. I actually want some units to desert. Perfect. So we just had units desert. How this works is there's no deserters now for 24 hours. It's the little game mechanic. There's like a deserter check, usually just once every 24 hours. And that means we won't have deserters now for 24 hours. So I can pick up this entire band of looters, like 300 looters and 100 mounted pillagers and whatnot. And they won't leave our army now for 24 hours. So I think I even have time to run over to this little town here, gather up more troops, and squash this army. Now, we might have been able to destroy them anyways. Look at how beautiful this is. We might have been able to destroy them anyways, just with our army. But not only am I trying to minimize losses here and crush the enemy, authoritatively in these battles, but I want to dump a bunch of reinforcements in Sahel Castle. Anytime I can dump and fill a garrison full of looters, we're going to do that, right? Because if nothing else, it slows the enemy down when they siege, right? If you have 350 looters in a castle, it's still going to go down because they're all tier 1. Even an army of 1,000 will take it down, but it'll slow the enemy down. It'll make them take 5 or 6 days to siege it down instead of 1. And look at this shit, right? We have 300 looters. This is fucking beautiful. So these 300 looters here are going to fucking assault this emperor. It's perfect role-playing too, right? This is literally the people of Calradia rising up, and we need it, right? He's got 165 elite cataphracts in this guy's army. So with that said, let's again be tactical. Let's be intelligent here. We're going to switch to our steel banner, which prevents melee damage, right? We're basically just switching out our banners for our main army, and especially our main character, depending on the strength of the enemy. You'll see us, of course, use range, decrease taken ranged attack damage. It's a nighttime battle, which is not my favorite, but we're just going to roll with it here. I'm in a hurry in this campaign. You'll see me stall occasionally to get a better result of a battlefield, but in this instance, I just want to fight this. We should be able to win. Hopefully, I've got the video settings on at a sort of optimized level where my main goal, of course, is for it to look like night, and yet you guys be able to see, right? It's the same dilemma a movie producer goes through when they film a scene at dark. If you pay a lot of attention to it, it's kind of glaring because if you watch a movie scene that's in dark, you can see everybody clearly and there's like lights shining on them, right? The movie producers do various little things to make it more visible, make their cast more visible, because if it's just complete pitch, you can't even tell what's going on. You can't see the actors' faces, etc., and the whole thing just doesn't work very well. So hopefully this works for you. We're going to form a little diamond formation here. This is something I've been playing around with a little bit, especially with these bandit units. You see the 2nd and 7th there. I'm going to dismount those guys. Then we will put the 2nd in a square and the 7th behind them. Meanwhile, we're making diamond shape or maybe there's another geometrical word for that, but we're making essentially a four-sided irregular shape there to slow down the cavalry, right? We're trying to catch their main cavalry within that diamond shape. That'll slow them down, all these horses being in their way, and then it will be an absolutely gorgeous sunset. You know me, I can't help it, fellas, but it will also be a killing pen for the enemy. Their cavalry should run into this, all these camels and shit like that, and then get immolated inside our square. We're still going to have to deal with their main vanguard, hence the infantry being pushed at angles like that, right? That way they can come in easily on the enemy flanks, and we can swallow the infantry up after this huge cavalry vanguard. Man, that's a lot. That might be this pompous Mantios right there. I don't need him firing 800 arrows at one emperor. And they come here, and that is a fuck ton of cavalry. But look at, he even got stuck on him. This guy, move! Ugh! He got drilled by a fucking javelin. Fucking beautiful. Oh, that wasn't Mantios. That must have been his scout. All right, so now we can open fire. Hopefully the cavalry lines really slow down their heavy horse. It is. It's kind of acting like a filter. 3 men come up to the line, and only 2 or 1 get through. And now there's like a broken up cav wave hitting our infantry lines here. Of course, a lot of them are swarming the square as well. This is highly optimal. The infantry is coming in, so we're going to start to surround this infantry. 223, that's quite a bit. We've got more infantry overall than them now, and especially because we have more units on the battlefield right now. Adding all those looters, one of the things it does is it gives you a numerical advantage in battle. Let's continue to move back here with these two different squares. The 1st Division can be put in a square here, but I think they're in a good position not to be in a square. Let's push this square right back in front of the 1st. In fact, that 1st can throw javelins, and then if the enemy zergs that square pretty nicely, these infantry can charge up. You see him just throwing a hail of javelins there. That was sick. All right, let's pull this 6th to the enemy's left, and it's time to wade in on these boys. They look like their infantry division is broken up. It's not in its normal fishbowl. They're kind of in a big maelstrom in the center of the battle here. And so sometimes, keep it simple, stupid, right? Their infantry is kind of breaking to the two different sides. We'll bring the 6th and 8th Corps towards me. The 3rd can be told to charge. The 1st can be told to charge eventually here too. I just want to bring them in a little bit more. Now it's a combined charge, right? All these guys can just fucking give them hell. I can attract some attention here, wade through here, and just crush all their little individual forces. Yeah, that's a desert mauler on their side. Motherfuckers. Traitors. There's already fucking traitors within this revolt. Their cavalry's getting blitzed. Their shock troops are smashed in the back. And that was it, I think. Their whole 200-man infantry just got vaporized. God, they got savaged. All right, let's move up infantry divisions in shield walls. Let's start to approach their archers. They do have reinforcement infantry coming, but that's okay. As usual, right, our tactic is, it's been called like a mongoose style tactic, right, where we sort of ambush. We play defensive and ambush, and then, of course, once the momentum, once the battlefield's odds are in our favor, it's an aggressive charge, right? To basically press our advantage. When you outnumber the enemy, you want to charge. Okay, they have archers coming over the ridge here, but man, do we outnumber them now, right? This is just an F1, F3 situation. We can be a little bit more tactically. We can just send infantry forward until they get close, and then they can shield wall. The 6th can be told to skirmish. We're suffering a lot of losses, but look at the death span. Mounted pillager, mounted pillager. Those guys are free. You have to remember that. Those guys, their deaths, it matters to those fellas, but it doesn't matter to me at all, right? We get 100 mounted pillagers free every time we find a looter band. So those guys dying is optimal in some ways. We're smoking our own units here as usual, and this 2nd wave is going to melt faster than the 1st, right? We're just slugging it out here. Our fucking brawlers are up here with their hammers, swinging away with me. And I'm actually having a hard time finding targets. It's mostly our troops. Now we just got to find their pompous emperor, right? That guy got speared and then hit in the face with a javelin. This poor enemy force is just getting shredded. Ah, these motherfuckers. Their militia is doing a number on me. Or their low-level archers here. He shot me right in the face, and I noticed it was like 50 damage. Again, that emphasizes how weak the armor is here for Hugh the Hammer. Now, he moves fast, right? This guy's blazing fast because he doesn't have a lot of heavy armor on. And, of course, he has high athleticism. Is that Mantios? I don't know if he's down already. I see Vamanessa just got a kill. I'm going to kill some of these Northern Empire nobles myself, right? Tell everybody to stand still, hold your fire, because I want these guys for myself. Is that Vamanessa? That looks like a man. Oh, they're yelling like a woman. That is Mantios, you son of a bitch. Fucking invade our territory. Let's teach this guy a lesson here. He's fucking fleeing. He's already got a javelin in his side. I want to disable his horse first, because I'm going to give this guy a beat down with my hammer. The battlefield suddenly got silent. It's like they're watching the two kingdoms champions fight it out. Let's beat this guy's ass. I got almost no health. I got to be careful here. Fuck you, Mantios. Just fucking pound him into the sand here. Let's make sure he's dead. Of course, we're going to execute this guy now too, right? We're getting medieval in this campaign, but that was fucking awesome. Just completely pounded Mantios to death. Fuck you, right? Just role-playing some medieval, getting medieval on their asses. The Duke of Brunswick here gets stomped. That's a Consguard. I'm going to kill this guy as well. Enjoy the sunset here. We're going to enjoy all the pleasures in life, right? Throttling the enemy and enjoying a gorgeous sunset here in the desert. Can't get away, motherfucker. This nice long pole arm, I can just attack this guy from behind. He really does seem like he's routing off the battlefield. But what another glorious battle here for us in this revolt. Consguard eats shit. Our troops fucking roar with excitement. We got to get this castle restocked now with all these peasants, right? I think I'll be able to make it there and shove it full of all these looters and mounted pillagers and stuff like that. Look at all these guys with blood splattered all over their face. They really do look like 5-foot-tall homeless guys. Guys that just came out of their tent last night and they're butchering Aserai and Northern Empire forces for breakfast. This gal looks like a witch. Come with us. All you fucking dipshit Northern Empire, come with us. See if they have any prisoners. They should at least have some of those. Yeah, look, they have desert fucking brawlers, desert maulers. These are our characters, and they're just taking a prisoner. I don't believe, I'll have to double check the settings. I don't believe our enemy can recruit from cities our troops. I'll have to double check. If we start noticing that, maybe I'll have to get in there and tinker with the settings. The My Little Warband is something that I'm only learning in the last 2 to 4 weeks. It is adjustable mid-campaign. I don't plan on adjusting it, whether we're losing or winning. We'll just kind of roll with it. I guess if we were, if there was like a bug or something, I would adjust it. But otherwise, we're just going to roll with it. All right. Let's see here. We got to get this garrison shoved, and then we're going to have a feast. I'm going to tell my crew we're gonna do the positive morale thing. We're having a feast tonight, right? Just role play a little bit. We're talking to the soldiers here. All right, man, excellent. Another outstanding battle there, fellas. We are going to go ahead and leave some of you guys here. You guys will now be captains and lieutenants inside this important castle of Sahel. Please don't loot it too badly. We'll leave you guys plenty of beer, plenty of cheese, and all kinds of good stuff, some concubines. And we are going to have a little celebratory execution. This pompous guy who calls himself Emperor Mantios or whatever. Peace. He's got to be on one of these armies. Where's this guy? Maybe he's in our army. I didn't see him in our army. Do a little bit of evening out of our units though, and let's do some executions here. Who has him? I don't get it. Oh, there he is. I missed him. Okay. All right. Come with us, Mantios. We'd like to put you in front of all of our brigands so they get to watch. This is what we do to fucking aggressive aristocracy that try to stop our revolt, right? Down you go. We'll put his head on the fucking wall as a reminder to all those other insolent men who consider themselves emperors, that in this campaign, the bandits are chief, right? We are in charge. These sons of bitches try to take us over. So a little bit of evening out of our units here. Again, I will be right back. And I just mumble to myself here. And just non-stop relations being ruined with everybody. Just don't give a fuck, right? We are out for vengeance, and it doesn't really seem to matter. These enemies now are intent on destroying us. I'm not sure how this small army is coming in here to siege Hubyar. That doesn't make any sense. 400. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So there's multiple forces here, I guess, of the Western Empire. Again, these fucks are invading our homeland all the way down to Hubyar. Might be time for some more executions. Evidently, they didn't see the heads on our pikes. We'll have to make sure that the guys that have the heads on the pikes march at the front of the army. That way our enemy sees what awaits them. And we'll put our win-loss record, right? We're like 39-0 in this campaign. And we will tell them, you know, what do you like your chances here? We haven't lost yet, and every single emperor who has lost recently, we have put their head on a pike. You sure you want to fight us? And of course, in real life, they would take notice. They would probably try to assassinate your ass also. They would certainly condemn you in the court of public opinion. That is a thing. This is a big part of life that is sort of underestimated frequently by leaders of countries. Now, Putin doesn't really care. He's just an oligarch leader of Russia. But on some level, like Israel's a good example. They care. They understand that invading Palestinian lands, even ostensibly to take terrorists down, is difficult, because as you kill civilians, there's all sorts of press that notices today. Damn, a bunch of our minor clans just got killed somewhere. As you commit what are considered atrocities by sort of far left, or whatever you want to consider, a highly anti-war people, there's a court of public opinion, and obviously you need to be careful how you pursue in that situation. I don't think anybody disagrees with the notion that Hamas and the ghastly attack on Israel needs to be punished on some level. But then Hamas tactically, strategically is doing the smartest thing here. I'm not saying they're doing an honorable thing, but they're effectively hiding and using the people as shields. Now, what that does, of course, is it forces the enemy's military to sort of push their way through all these people to get to the fighters. It's despicable from an ethical level, but it's tactically, if we're doing just straight realpolitik here, it's pretty brilliant, because it makes Israel basically kill a lot of civilians and starve out a lot of civilians to get to their true foe, right? To get to Hamas. It's one of those instances where I think it's a Bismarck type realpolitik. If you've never heard that term, wow, this is maybe, let me interrupt my little narration here. I think we're going to give this a shot because we can retreat, but this is probably biting off more than we can chew. We just fought here. Actually, we're even more pressed up against the walls. I don't like this shit. And because we attacked, we can just back out. I want a different strategy or a different tactical opportunity on this battlefield. Like, put us behind one of these ridges or something where we can do something interesting. I don't think this is tactically viable. We're outnumbered 2-1 here, so it would be a really optimal. It would have to be a really optimal layout of like where the enemy is, where we are, for us to really make a go at this. Our army is not so strong. We can just butcher armies twice our size tactically, with these tier 2 to tier 4 units. A lot of our units, of course, are still injured from that previous battle against the Northern Empire. So let's take a look. Let's see what this looks like. But I reserve the right to just abandon this, right? This, from a role-playing perspective, makes sense. The enemy is sieging here. We could sort of pretend, if we back out here, that we're just coming up, taking a look, and then looking for a better opportunity. If like the enemy is really close, you see you can't see the enemy out there. I don't know. Yeah, and they're way too close for us to even make tactical maneuvers here. So we're pressed up against the wall. We'll just retreat. The other thing that'll happen too if I wait here is eventually they're going to start sieging the city, and then we have two better options. I can get into the city and defend the city, which would be my preference. We are losing some deserters, or we will have the city's help here in attacking. Unfortunately, these motherfuckers are just sieging our city, like stalling and trying to starve our units out. So let's take another look here, see if it's a different tactical battlefield. Sometimes if you attack the enemy, yeah, it's totally different. If you attack them like this from a different angle, you get a different battlefield. And this we can work with. Look at these ridges here on the right. It's the same battlefield, but it's a different spot. And so that's going to be huge here for this. We will commit to battle here. So clearly I want to use these ridges to eliminate their ability to attack some of our units. We will effectively hide behind those. Now, why do I think the enemy is going to attack here? Simple, because they have a ton of cavalry and we're outnumbered 2-1. I don't know for sure. We will probably watch to see what the enemy does here before we pull our men off our horses. You don't want to do that and have to have them get back on their horses and half the horses run away. But I think the enemy's going to attack us. And if they do, we will curl around the corner of these cliffs here and be able to commit effectively a combination kill box with some enfilade fire from this upper ridge here. Now, I got to be mindful the enemy may attack us on that ridge, right? They may send cavalry around that edge. I think they can get up over there where it's shallower, and we will watch for that. So 1, 2. We're going to continue to dismount these cav units, right? This is a perfect opportunity against an enemy with plenty of heavy cavalry. We're going to slow them down again dramatically with the 2nd and 3rd Corps. You know, I understand this whole campaign. We're doing things that are kind of unorthodox, a little bit weird. It's a convoluted. It is created, right? This campaign is created. We have units that I've custom made, right? So this is obviously not normal Bannerlord, but I'm doing this for a challenge, for the role-playing element of it, and for the I guess you would consider for the originality of it, right? There won't be any other kingdoms you see out there with an army like ours because we have these custom units. So 6th, 3rd, 1st. Let's see if they're approaching first, right? We'll be watching those lower numbers, 320. You got to kind of run sideways. Otherwise, if you're running towards them, of course, their numbers go down for sure. I don't actually need to see their numbers. They're charging. 300 cavalry at the head. They've got a mixed army, but it's mostly cavalry, infantry, archers. All right, let's go ahead and move our cav divisions up here. We'll dismount these guys and then start to commit to a kill box. The good thing is that we can't really lose this battle. The enemy's sieging, so even if I was the last man surviving, we'd be able to retreat and fight another day. But I really don't want that to be the case, right? Because we'll suffer grievous losses, and of course, we'll still have to deal with this Western Empire force. No, don't mount horses. Square. Okay, I think we fixed that. These horse archers can also be told to dismount and push to the rear. They get completely destroyed by heavy cavalry. These mounted pillagers, they have no armor and no shield. So you can imagine what happens when, you know, a two-handed elite Manavliaton charges these guys, right? It's shish kebab city. Now, where is the enemy force? It looks like they're coming up around us here. That's disconcerting. They are sending horse archers to surround us from... It's like 35 guys, and I'm not threatened by that, but I want to make sure that we're not being attacked from behind here. If we start getting guys flanking through our archers here, we're going to have a problem. Let's just do a little reconnaissance here, right? Reconnoiter. We'll do like the French. We'll reconnoiter. En français, c'est vous préférez. We will do the 3 lines of French that I know. I'd like to be friendly to all the different nations of the world because this is in many ways an international channel, right? War is an international language. And of course, as most people on the channel know, I am a fan of everything from French history to Romanian history to English history, Spanish history, and beyond. Holy fucking annihilation of javelins, right? There's little pebbles too being thrown. That means we have looters on the battlefield. I fucking love it. And the death spam is amazing, right? It's just fucking flushing green. Militia archers scoring kills. Now we can bring this 8th Corps down here to keep these guys off of our 3rd Division. I want to keep these infantry divisions back if I can until the enemy infantry arrives. They're in this maelstrom. They're somewhere tucked behind these different enemy waves. If they're going to ignore our 1st Division, that's fine. We'll spread these guys out. These guys can throw some javelins. They seem to be ignoring our 1st way more than I would expect. I don't know if that's because the unit isn't large enough, but that's suboptimal, right? I want that 1st Division grabbing attention. Let's go ahead and charge here on this flank. I'm going to join them. Fucking assholes. Oh, you fuck. You drilled me right in the face with the fucking javelin. And we bore in here, right? The enemy infantry, it's a tough vanguard, but they are getting surrounded here. Fucking legionnaires and whatnot. Fuck you. It's chaos. Let's crimp in on both sides here. The 8th Corps can be told to join us as well. And it's a beat-down city. Look at the death spam. It's just flushing green. We can start moving guys up here on the flanks. Let's get those archers pre-positioned too. Fucking asshole, man. Oh, that guy looked like he was stunned. He looked like he had diarrhea or something. He was all hunched over and then he got mauled. All right, let's get infantry pushed forward. They have a ton of archers here, so I'm going to send forth our shield maidens, right? The iron maidens go forward. You see a bunch of shields leading with a bunch of scrappy-looking infantry behind them. And this 3rd Corps, we're going to tuck over here in the corner. All these guys with no shield. You see all these guys with the wolf's head. Those guys have very poor armor and no shield, right? So we're going to keep them behind this 1st Corps. We can also use the 2nd Corps and a shield, although we've got a bunch of archers now mixed in with them. All right, this is working. So let's bring our 3rd and 6th up on the angles here now around the enemy. I'm going to try to get some flanking fire here too. Our infantry's pushing up, the shield infantry, and that's going to allow a lot of our shock troops. Damn, I just killed one of our Iron Maidens. I don't know how she got that far ahead of everybody else, but it is what it is. All right, pushing shield boys. Third Corps can be told to join me here. Kill this fucking Lord. Man, I'm killing a lot of our own troops this episode. See if we can't pull these guys right back to our Third Corps here. And I wish I had the 250 javelin skill. It sucks hitting the shields. All right, the enemy's sucked in here pretty beautifully. Now we can fucking flank the enemy, push this shield wall right directly into their mass, and charge with these ladies. These lovely ladies in their dresses. In we go, bitches. It's heavy javelin fire here. I'm going to try to disrupt the enemy skirmishers here, wade through this mess, gather a bunch of attention, and swing my fucking hammer until the enemy fucking melts. It's extremely high casualties here, but we knew this was going to be a thing, right? There's 2,000 enemies here. But it feels like we're starting to win. It feels like we're starting to gain the upper hand. I can start moving archers up. What I want to do is I want to get at least one archer division to our left. That way these guys will have nice enfilade fire on the enemy. In the middle here, we just have a battle royale. It's beautiful too. You see all the peasants and the bandits up here swinging away. We will have some looters in this battle, although obviously we don't have the 400. We left a lot of those at Sahel Castle. It's such a glorious game. People are yelling and screaming and getting trucked to the ground. I mean, I understand people's complaints about Bannerlord, man, but you just feel this unadulterated joy, the ecstasy of chaos. All right, so all these archers are just charging. It's suboptimal, right? They're kind of shooting here on and off. I think this battle is over, though. We've got them really hemmed in here. Oh, shit. There's a long line of enemy troops. All right, let's flank. Let's go ahead and get the 5th. What else do we have? Horse archers, the 7th, and the 2nd. Let's get all 3 archer divisions to the enemy's right. And if we can keep them busy here in the center, those archers are going to strafe this packed up, piled up enemy troops. They have a lot of troops here fighting on the front lines. Let's have this division hold fire. See these guys standing there? Tell them hold fire. That'll send every single one of those guys to the front line. Wow, they got a lot of archers set up too. 500 more units they have? Shit. Okay, so maybe we're in trouble here. Let's go ahead and wade in. These archers should be spreading out and enfilade firing the enemy very soon. In fact, I see the arrows starting to cause impacts. Oh shit, they're starting to overrun this flank. Look at that insane looter fighting with this hammer. All right. Charge with these archers. No, we want these guys firing. We want these guys shooting. I got you, man. Fuck, this is close. This is a lot. Oh shit, took a javelin right to the forehead. All right, who do we got here? This is Ragged. Charge for sure. And let's get archers again. Spread out on this enemy flank. They will have some counter fire from the enemies, but I think we have more archers now at this stage. And the enemy's totally penned up there. Let's see, this guy's got a bow. He's got a long pole arm. Let's use the bow, right? Let's smoke some of these archers at the back here. We can do a little sniper work while our units sort of swallow up this force of Western Empire fucks. They have mostly recruits and low-level archers at this stage. I think we can win this shit. They got archers trying to counter-shoot. Fuck no. Get off our troops there, recruit. They've got like 5 cavalry left. That's not really a threat, but I don't need these guys spearing our archers in case it's closer than I expect. The death spam certainly looks good. I'm glancing up there in between shots, and it's a 5-1. I just saw Talia Willowbark go down. I love seeing our companions in battle. It's such a visceral feel, right? It feels like a real battle. Get a little bit of javelin work here at the end of the episode. Of course, we're leveling this guy too, right? His polearm skill just hit 167. It helps. We need some of these characters to level up in this campaign. Give them some perks. Looters will benefit from these perks, right? If they get plus to polearm, motherfuckers are benefiting. And we got this shit. They're totally wrapped up. The archers are going to work here, finishing them. Fucking beautiful. So like Mike Tyson, right? We are undefeated still, trucking everything in Calradia. And that's probably a requisite of this campaign. I don't even want to know what happens if Hugh the Hammer gets captured, right? I think we can guess. He's now executed the head of 3 different states, 3 different kingdoms within Calradia. This guy's got wanted dead or alive signs. He's piling up giant fucking carpeted carcasses of Western and Northern and Southern Empire forces. Pretty bloody, 200 units left. But again, another battle that we had to win. We had to stop them sieging Hubyar here. And I would bet a lot of those losses can be replaced. Don't forget, of course, the My Little Warband units are readily replaceable at this stage because these guys, we can now recruit them at cities. We're still getting mounted ransackers as prisoners. And he should have a few of those. Not very many. But we'll take it, right? Victory is still victory. Our force trucks on here. And as you guys have gotten used to here, I got to do a little bit of city maintenance, sort of reconfigure our army here, make sure we have a nice mix of high-end troops. And I think it's time to head north again, right? We've beaten off this round of assaulting attacks here. We're going to lose Ain Balik. And it might be time to commit to a player clan soon here, right? We're just not going to be able to win a 2-front war with one army, right? That's just not a thing. So we'll figure that out in this episode or the coming episodes. I'm trying to think of how I want to do that. Newcastle's ours. We've got a decent little garrison there of marauders. And now to Razih, right, as we continue to strengthen up our eastern side here. But we've got to add a companion. I don't know if I'm going to do it this episode. I've still got to figure out kind of what I want to do here. Of course, I appreciate your feedback all along here, fellas. I'm probably going to form at least one player clan. I think the reality is simple. To accomplish our goals here, we're not going to be able to do it with a single army, right? You just cannot fight 28 guys by yourself. Even Neo eventually had to just get out of there. It's not a winnable situation. So we will take Razih and they maybe assess from there what we're going to do. We're hopefully going to have to assess a few sandstorm battles in this campaign as the Northern Empire continues to drive in here on the west, attacking Askar. Now, ostensibly, there's 1,200 defenders there, but that is, I would imagine that's mostly scrubs. We're getting some deserters here. We actually ran into a nice little, what are they, Desert Raider or something like that. Basically, we picked up a handful of minor clan units that we were able to shove at Tam Newcastle. I think we're about as full as our army is going to be for a little while, and we will siege Razih. Wow, there's a big defense force here, including fucking lake rats. These guys should be on our side, obviously. Well, I think we will go ahead and try. It's not the worst thing in the world if they do attack us here. If they sally out, that's probably going to be easier than attacking them in the city. But unfortunately, it looks like they're going to stay behind their walls. I don't blame them. A lot safer there, although I think even 2,000, we're going to try to blast through this city. These are the kind of challenges that we're going to have to get through in this campaign to find victory. Bari Hal Castle is besieged by the Southern Empire. All right, so in the west, we've got 2 different Empire scum kingdoms attacking us, and let's see what the garrisons look like here. We can go to Bari Hall. Has you can see the infantry there. There's 280 looters. That's the infantry, and then there are 6 militia. It's just a bunch of scuzz. Same thing here at Askar. Look at that shit. There's 1 Sea Raider chief, and he's trying to keep order, giving commands to 410 looters. I think that paints a hilarious picture. You can just almost picture it. Quit looting, motherfuckers, and get on those walls. Start defending. Quit robbing the store. And this guy is beelining in here. This is not... he's attacking. This guy is not going somewhere else. It says he's traveling to Odok. Odok is a long ways away from here, so this looks like we're being attacked. Now, I imagine the garrison will sally out. He doesn't have a large enough force to attack us. It's weird. It's only him attacking us. Come get some. Oh, nah. Now the whole garrison sallied out. So that's why he's attacking, right? The garrison's here, and the AI is calculating that with the garrison that this smaller Aserai army can win. And maybe they can, right? 2100. The power bar generally favors them pretty strongly here. But our army is also rounding into shape, right? We have a nice mix now of minor clans, militia, some bandits, and then of course the My Little Warband units. By hitting every town and every village, we've been able to gather up probably 300 or 400, in 3 or 4 episodes. So of course normal player damage, and let's see what this looks like. It is, it's this battlefield. We haven't had one of these for this campaign, and I think this is an appropriate spot for it. I would not do this if it was like 1,000 against our 1,000, but both to perform some tactics using this setup here and to minimize casualties, we will use this. This is the kind of thing I won't use over and over again in this campaign. If we get another battle in this same area, maybe we'll fight it differently, unless we're outnumbered like 2 or 3 to 1 like this. We will take advantage of this, and maybe I'll just tell you, we crushed them at the beach landscape. That's what most guys call this, like the desert beach landscape. It's a pretty well-known landscape for foe destruction. So I'm going to dismount the 2nd Cavalry again. We're going to continue to use them in a square. You guys have obviously, you're used to some of my tactics by now. I think closer to the entrance is better. That way the enemy can't just charge in 10,000 cavalry without any kind of a break. That'll kind of slow them down. And then when they get in here, we are going to pulverize them. All of these jab throwers. So the 1st Division, strategically, I'm starting to shift towards this because there's more non-javelin throwers in the 1st Division, and that's our best armored people, including the Iron Maiden. This is one of our bandit. It's one of our only Tier 4 bandits. Those gals don't have any throwing weapon, so what we can do is exhaust the throwing weapons in the 1st Division and add them to the square defensive work there. Our 5th Corps coming along, right? Even though they got sickles, that's a desert sniper. Some of them have really weak two-handed weapons. That's all they have, right? They have like a sledgehammer or a sickle, but they're decent archers. And critically, they have a lot of ammo. That's going to help in a battle like this. This might be a 20 or 25-minute battle. We'll see what the enemy does here. Of course, it's an absolutely gorgeous sunset. I'm going to keep a crossbow division in reserve. I have so many units because of the battle size mod here. We probably have 700 or 800 units on the battlefield, and that's certainly going to be welcomed. In fact, this is 6. We've got like 650, give or take. The 3rd Division, of course, with the prom dress. That's like the prom dress shock troop division. I need like a good nickname for that division. Those gals are definitely going to help once things come to blows. But for now, I'm just tucking them in there. Also, kind of in reserve. They don't have shields, or at least a lot of them don't have shields, and so we will protect them. They also have no armor. They're wearing dresses. Quite literally. If this is the first episode you've seen of this campaign, you're probably very confused. We are using a mod called My Little Warband, which allows you to edit your own characters. And to that effect, we have some, what we will call them enhanced looters and enhanced rebels for this little mini-series. We're not using any of the normal army groups, so no Aserai forces, etc., with the exception of militia. And then occasionally I'll use like an armed trader or something like that. Kind of somebody who looks a little bit like militia or civilian wearing regular clothing. You won't see a whole lot of gleaming armor in our army except these Iron Maidens. I kind of made an exception. I wanted to fiddle around with the idea of having a highly defensive unit in Bannerlord. I think this would be a fascinating element in the game, especially in multiplayer, where you had X amount of skill points and armor points, and you were allowed to custom set up your units, because of course then your own army would be highly unique, and everybody's strategies would vary pretty significantly depending on what kind of army they built. So the horse archers, the enemy's got a ton of horse archers, of course, the Aserai here. The rest of their forces are kind of slowly coming up. I'm trying to get an idea. This looks like a good solid 150 here. Sweet, we're gaining levels by killing Khan's guards. That always seems appropriate. I got to try not to get shot to death here. Try to get to these guys' non-shooting side. And I think I better get... Oh shit, I got stuck. Don't get killed. I think I'll get tucked back here with my men. Enough reconnaissance here, right? We know the enemy's coming. All right, so I've got these two different divisions, these two different Javelin divisions, and of course we're going to use these guys to apply savage force to anything coming through this gap. So, ironically, it's actually not the worst strategy for the enemy to come in here like, I don't know, 6 at a time, because I don't really want to waste our ammo. But of course, we're also not going to let them just stand here and hammer us with ranged weapons. You're going to see me toggling the fire on and off a lot in this battle here. Motherfucker attacked my horse. Fucking pay the price for that shit. Puppeteer is about the worst possible minor clan in the game, and we're noticing this more and more. This enemy force has some of the My Little Warband units. They are taking some of our units prisoners, probably at cities and or a couple times the minor clans, I guess. I really don't know where they're getting our troops from. I'm almost certain they can't recruit them, but yet every battle they seem to have 3, 4, 5 of our units. It's perplexing. So just pounding him at range here. The second division is holding on for dear life over there, and I'm probably going to help those guys out with this first corps, right? The first corps and the second corps, there's going to be kind of like a hierarchy to that. The first corps will become the second corps. What I mean by that is the defensive agent. Now the enemy's chucking javelins in at us as well. They have a ton of lake rat wreckers in this battle. These motherfuckers here firing away javelins at us, and they have a lot of them, just like our units, right? They have 10 javelins, the lake rat wreckers, and that's wrecking my plan, frankly, because we're trying to win here at range. It becomes a lot harder if they have good range units. That said, that's what you want to see with the death spam, right? Not only is Hugh the Hammer obliterating all these loitering fucks. No loitering, you stupid fucks. Didn't you guys see there's no loitering here? Let's charge at this 6th division. Let's give these guys a little blast here. They are getting absolutely shredded by ammo. I mean, it's an incredible amount of bolts and arrows and javelins. And we have units that throw rocks too, right? We have it all. Our army with this mix of different bandits and shit has a lot of ranged weapons. No elite archers, right? We don't have Fian champs. We don't have Aserai master archers. Can't tell if these guys are... Well, there's your answer. Those are our units. I have the little friendly orb turned to get quite a bit down. Some guys want it brighter, I'm sure. Hopefully you can... What do we got going on here? These are reinforcements, I think. Yeah, they are, and they're pouring in a shield, or in a square. Let's go ahead and move these guys. The 2nd division is now mostly archers, so we will move this 1st division up as a square. That happens because the battle size mod brings your reinforcements in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th division based on what kind of troop they are. 1st infantry, of course, 2nd archers, as you've seen, 3rd cavalry, and then 4th is horse archers. They're in the standard spots. And it sort of fucks with my plan, man. But the battle plan here is working beautifully. We are thrashing everything in sight. It's almost a continuous stream of green as the enemy just gets fucking torn apart here, eliminating their initial... Yeah, that's another one of our troops. Annihilating their initial little vanguard here. They're yelling fucking commands like Tourette's over here. Form a shield. He gets fucking destroyed. Damn it. Give me these javelins. I'm trying to pick up some javelins here. I'm a notorious javelin hound in situations like this. I want to be able to add to the maelstrom, right? Our units are throwing scores of javelins. I want to be able to participate, and I can't quite make out the loot. I know there's a nice mod out there somewhere where you can actually set it so that your loot is, I guess, oh, you motherfucker, this guy's just throwing javelins at our fucking units. She's like, ooh. You can set it so that the loot you pick up sort of defaults to what makes sense, right? You won't pick up like an arrow, for example, if you have a bunch of javelins or something. That obviously is one of the many things that should be in the regular game, but is not. Look at this shit. Those are all our units. 1, 2, 3. That's 4 different units. Those are all ours. Those are desert brawlers or whatever. And then the women, those are the ones in the dress. You can't miss them, right? They're insane ex-wives. They're up there wearing a dress, and they have two-hand skill. Man, what a weird... It's weird seeing the shoe on the other foot to here, to be sure. Now, the enemy's being very cagey here. Smart, right? They're not just going to barrel down here. In situations like this, the AI actually doesn't do a terrible job trying to figure out the puzzle. Now, there is no answer unless you attack from the flanks, and I'm keeping an eye on them. It does look like they're sending horse archers over there. Got that crossbow division in a square. I'm not too worried about it, although we can open fire if there's a lot of pressure over there. I see a little insolent Aserai Lord or whatever running through there. Kill that guy. Watch this guy get executed. She took like 20 arrows right to the head. Squawked like a chicken. Ah! All right, we're doing a little arrow volley here. I don't know if we're going to win a long-term arrow volley because we don't have really strong archers. But this is kind of fine for now. I may end up flanking this fucking Aserai force. Every once in a while, you'll get a desert beach battle like this, and the enemy won't attack you. They're just kind of being passive like this and think it's a good idea to do the ranged assault. And I find it's actually better to flank these bitches because their archers are wholly unprotected in a situation like this. I'm going to grab myself a horse here, and let's see what we can do here strategically. This is going to be very complex and confusing for the watcher, so I will try to describe what I'm going to do here. We're gonna do a flanking attack. So I'm going to take my 2 cav divisions. The 7th and the 8th are both cav divisions. You see all these guys with horses here. We're also going to take the 3rd division because those guys are quick and they don't have armor. We will try to protect them with the cav divisions. Here we're going to continue to hold the beach down here, but it's sort of a feint. It's sort of a stalling, a delaying thing. We're just going to pound the enemy with arrows. And if they charge down here, of course, I'll keep an eye on sort of the death spam and the yelling and the feeling of the battle. We can charge with that 1st and 6th division. What else is there? They also have the 2nd that has some cavalry. So that division I'm going to essentially be micromanaging at range. Over here I have, let's see, I've already forgot. So I have the 7th and 8th and then the 3rd Corps. Okay, so the 3rd Corps, those are our... well, some of them have ranged weapons. They have javelins and whatnot, but almost all of those are our two-handed shock troop type troops. The angry housewives and stuff like that. Now, the enemy, of course, this is cheating. The enemy has radar. They just know exactly where your troops are at all times. This is a little bit nefarious, we'll say, by the AI here, but I'm okay with this. They're charging our 3rd Corps. That's fine. We're going to bring the 7th and 8th past them. Basically try to get as many of our units out of there as possible, and then the 3rd Corps can be told to charge and hold fire. That way, those gals rush up here and butcher a horse, right? Looks like meat's back on the menu, right? We're going to eat some horse meat tonight as these shock troop gals get a hold of their horses. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of multitasking here and look at the other side because, of course, our army is split up. The enemy's, ironically, sort of splitting their army up too, right? They have a bunch of units here. They are charging. All right, we counter-charge. 1st and 6th can charge here. The 2nd can be told to charge as well. And now we're going to try to push through this other side here and then envelop that main Aserai force. Unfortunately, they've got a huge amount of cavalry in here. It gets obliterated. All right, I got surrounded here. I can't tell if these are our units in the way, but whatever it is, it's fucking a traffic jam. But look at our women coming up with their dresses, right? They're angry. They're swinging their axes and hammers. And we've got a breakout over here, right? These women are loose. Look at them with their afros and their dresses. Fucking amazing. All right, let's go ahead and drag these 2 divisions. We're going to suffer some losses as these troops move, but man, is the enemy about to get pinched. We're charging on the other side with our 1st and 6th division. Now we're going to be able to bring in shock troops and cavalry on the enemy's flank. You motherfucker. Guy killed my fucking horse. All right. Well, I guess it wasn't my horse. I ditched my horse a while ago. Ah! I forget that the horses, I was just going to kill that guy. I know he's my own and take his horse, but I forget sometimes that usually the horse dies with the battle size mod because we have so many units on the field. So the 7th Division is standing next to me just to give me a horse here. We're going to charge forward with the 7th and 8th and bring in this 3rd Corps behind the enemy. This is going to be savage. There they are. Look at these women all lined up. The enemy's totally jammed in there trying to fight our units, and they're backdoored now. Where are their archers? Here are their archers trying to scramble. Nope, I am afraid you guys are too late. Look at their archers. They're trying to scramble, and we're bringing up heavy cav. Well, as heavy cav as our bandits have. And then the 3rd Corps. We're just going to drive it. We're going to drive it right through their asses. All right, reinforcements coming. Let's block them with the 8th Corps here. Those are more enemy housewives. Motherfucking enemies got my housewives. Fucking cheating. All right, we're going to continue to drag these 2 cavalry divisions as well because I think the rest of those forces there are dead. That's why they're getting reinforcements. I see 62 horse archers, but I would imagine all of their infantry and archers there are dead. Look at our infantry boring in on their horse archers. Kill these bitches. Maybe we can make them all suicide off this ledge. Just jump. That's your only chance, Aserai scum. All right, lots of multitasking in this episode. Gave those guys a little bit of a whipping. Now we're going to head back to the main battle here. The main enemy reinforcements are coming in. We've got the 3rd Division right at the edge of that ledge. They're starting to charge. We actually don't want that. Let's go ahead and bring archers up and get the 3rd Division pulled back on our side of this little ridge. You see that ridge there? That's a perfect little ridge for us to set up a defense. I can have these women form a square. The 8th Corps called back to me. Yeah, because here comes lots of enemy troops. This is going to be a brawl. That 1st Division, they might as well just keep charging. Let's get archers set up here below, though. This is a reverse slope incline defense. Got this 1st and 6th. Whenever that 1st Division gets over here, these archers have some arrows left. I still hear some guys kind of shooting, but a lot of guys are just standing there. Can't tell who's who here. Thank goodness there's no friendly fire. Oh shit, the enemy is pouring over a huge wave. This is going to be bloody. There's a lot of enemy left. Some people say just stay on the beach. Well, I'm not going to bore you guys to death, right? We are going to have open field battles, and I think our advantage here of this Peekaboo Ridge is going to be worth it. I think we're still going to be able to slaughter this force. We can start to get flanking forces. This 3rd Corps can be brought up to the edge of this ridge, and any enemies that sort of charge the center here, we're going to obliterate with shock troops. Here they come. All these scrubby Aserai troops. You forgot me, motherfuckers. Another fucking furious housewife on the enemy's side. Bitches. The enemy realizes, I think, that they're in a bad spot here. My poor horse. I'm clubbing the horse that I've just been riding. Hugh the Hammer is a gangster, right? This guy's a total thug. He doesn't mind ruling via fear. In fact, he prefers it. This guy's an absolute hammer thug. Just gonna kick every single one. I'm coming for you, she says. That's exactly what an ex-housewife, an ex-angry ex sounds like, right? I just offended like every woman on the channel. Of course, my wife and I are happily married, but I love it. All these angry ex-wives are coming up here. If anybody out there has an angry ex-wife, hopefully you can forgive my little sense of humor here. I'm not actually saying that I like it, that people have angry exes. I understand that there are some guys in very difficult situations. I would always try to encourage cordiality when it comes to stuff like that, especially when there are kids involved. But it's a video game, so up come our angry housewives, and we're going to obliterate all these men, right? We're going to chase these men right off the battlefield with insane ex-wives. I'm loving it. Fucking dipshit. Alright, let's set our archers up on this ridge. They do look like they're forming a defensive line there, but this battle is over. You can tell by the enemy behavior. When they're backpedaling like this, this is a sign of an enemy that wants to rout. In fact, I think their entire army just hit the retreat button. They did. Fucking beautiful. Fucking beautiful, right? Our little rebellion continues. Not easy, for sure, but we are definitely continuing to make traction. Now, in the next episode or two, we're definitely going to add a player clan. We're going to have to. It makes common sense here. We're being attacked by 5 kingdoms, and we have 1 army basically defending against all that. That's not a thing, right? Eventually, you just lose in a war of attrition. So we will make a player clan soon. We will have some minor clans that are fighting with that player clan. What I'm hoping to do is have 3 armies with myself, and then a player clan with, hopefully 5, 6, 7 armies in it, and most of them will be minor clans. They're going to have regular troops. That's just, there's nothing I can do about that, right? You cannot make minor clans, for example, recruit your My Little Warband units. But all that said, I think this is still going to be possible for our little rebellion here to push all across Calradia. We are definitely going to give it a shot. A little bit banged up here, but it's still going to work as this Aserai force goes and licks his wounds. Bring more next time, you fucking pussy. And I think we're going to wrap this episode up, friends. We've had a long episode here. There have been several major battles. You guys can probably tell, I am battling a head cold. I've got a little bit of the sniffles. Hopefully it's not too obnoxious in your ear. But it hasn't affected our battle prowess here as we engage and continue to destroy our enemy in this campaign. So, of course, if you want to see more, fellas, you want to subscribe, please hit that like button. I appreciate you, fellas. With all that said, I will see you, friends, next time.